Hello. So today we're going to look at Google Cloud Secret Manager to see how we can get our secrets out of our environment variables or indeed out of our source code if we have them in there, to get them to a secure secrets manager such as Google Secret Manager. So I've got a basic application here, really simple Express application that mimics a blog. So we've got a blog service here that runs a SQL query against a MySQL database using process.env in Node, which is just your environment variables, and then returns it through a RESTful API. So I've got my live credentials and my test credentials set up, so let me run them to show you what they do. Go to test, so Chrome, refresh this. Here we go, so now we're now accessing the testing database. And likewise, if I go in here and run the live one, so we can now see live users connected to blog on our live host. And there we go, we can see we've got our live credentials. So right now we've got these in our process.env, which quite a lot of sites use, and it's been made particularly popular since Kubernetes has been getting more popular, and that's how they originally recommended you pass your credentials to your application, was through your environment variables. That's changing a bit now with tools like Google Secret Manager. AWS has a secret manager. HashiCorp Vault as well as an alternative you could look at, but today we're going to focus on Google. Alright, so let's get started. So how do we go from this to having a secure application with our secrets stored in Secrets Manager? So first of all, what we need to do is we need to take our credentials, and we're going to want to make a JSON object. Right, so let's get that copied, and now let's head over to Google Cloud Console. So you got your navigation, you find security, and then go up to Secret Manager. So in here, this is where we're going to store our secrets. You can secure your secrets to let only certain service accounts access it or certain users using IAM permissions, which we'll look at a later date, but today we're just going to go ahead and create a secret. We're going to call this dbconfig, and we're going to paste in our JSON that we've just created there. And we'll go ahead and actually make these lowercase, because that's what MySQL connection is going to look for. Database, okay, so we'll go ahead and create that. Right, now, how do we access those secrets? Get rid of that. So let's go and make a passwords.js. So we're going to use an npm package, which is Google Cloud Secret Manager. Looks good. Right, so we're going to want Secret Manager. In fact, we'll go ahead and just pull out the client, and we'll create a new client of new Secret Manager service client. Right, so what you would do is you do client.access secret version, and then you need to give it the name of the secret. So we've called it dbconfig, although you actually need to give it a slightly longer name. You need to give it project. Is it project or projects? Project, and then project name is secrets testing. And then you want to do secret, then the secret name, which we done dbconfig, and then versions, and then you can either give it the version number, so this is version number 1, or you can go ahead and say, just give me the latest. So we'll go ahead and do latest. So that's going to be asynchronous promise. So if we go ahead, clear that, and let's just see what happens if we run that file. Invalid argument, invalid resource field in the request. What have we done wrong? Projects / project ID / secrets / secret ID / version / latest. I think actually we need to make this an object. Okay, there we go. So what have we got? We've got an array with an object inside it. The object has payload, which has data as a buffer. Right, so let me go and make this an async function quickly. Just tidy it up a bit. Right, so we're going to want to say const data, and we will await that. So that's going to give us, so data is going to be assigned as the subject. So we need data.payload.data. So const secret equals data.payload.data, and we're going to get that as a string, not as a buffer. So that should, in theory, give us our object. Okay, so that's fine, but that's inside an async function. So how do we then update this to be able to read this? So what I would do is I'm going to go ahead and create a secrets object, which we can use to pull the secrets later. And we're going to create another function here. We'll call it load, or you can call it anything you want. And we'll go ahead and say load, which will be an async function that will run first of all. So what we'll do is when we start our app, we'll make another file called bootstrap.js. And instead of doing node index.js, we'll do node bootstrap.js, which will asynchronously load the secrets, save them in the secrets object, and then we'll start index.js. So that means anything inside here will be able to access passwords.secrets, and it'll be able to access all the secrets we bootstrapped. So that'll probably make a bit more sense as we build it, so we'll go ahead and do that. Secrets, so we're going to say module.exports.secrets, and we'll give it a name, so dbconfig is going to equal secret. Now, I think that's all we need to do. That looks good. Alright, so we'll go ahead and create that bootstrap that I was talking about. Right, so inside here, what we're going to want to do is we'll call this passwords.load, and then once we've loaded that, we can then require our index.js. So if we then bootstrap index.js, so this will actually give us an error because we're not setting the environment variables anymore. So what we need to do is go in here, and we will go ahead and import. So what we want to do is we want to get, because we're loading this in the bootstrap, and then we're setting this object with a key of dbconfig to equal the password. So we want to access this. Right, so we can go ahead and export our const secrets from passwords, and then this to say, so it was a JSON, so we need to parse it. JSON parse secrets dbconfig. Right, so now if all goes well, we reconnect, There we go. Test users connected to blog testing on test.db.secrets.dev. So we go ahead across here, refresh this, and there we go. So we are now accessing the testing credentials. Awesome. That's great. So we can now remove this from here. Run test as I did earlier, undefined. Yeah, because we want this to be bootstrap now. Run test, so there we go. So that command we ran earlier, which was taking the process environment variables, now never sees any process.env, never sees any hard-coded passwords in there. All that comes directly from Google Cloud Secret Manager. So let's do the same quickly for our live database, and I'll show you how you can use this to make a nicer onboarding experience for your developers. So you know, when you start, or when you're working on a project, you know, you clone it off of your GitHub or wherever, and you need to run it locally. So there are two ways you could do that, right? You could go in here and you could say, you could check if this exists, and if it doesn't exist, you could give it an object to use, you know, your testing credentials and hard code your testing credentials in here. That's not ideal. The other option would be that your engineer would have maybe a .env file, but they then need to, you know, create that .env file and put the passwords in there, which is just a bit of a pain. So what you can do, we'll go ahead and create the live ones first, and then I'll show you how you can make a nice experience for your engineers. Again, all we're going to do here is create a JSON object. Oops. I'm going to go across to our live project now. So we set up a seat in the testing project before. We'll now go ahead to live, do exactly the same thing. Security, secrets manager. Okay, we haven't used this before, so we need to go ahead and enable it. Should just take a few seconds. There we go. So we'll create it, we'll give it the exact same name. So db config, we'll give it the live credentials, and we'll go ahead and create that. So now, what's our project name? So take project name secrets live. So we go across here and change this testing to be live. Okay, there we go. So live user is connected to blog.live. So that's now coming from this project here. So that now works as normal. Okay, so that's good. So we've now removed the need to have environment variables. We can delete them. There's no more passwords in our code. So that's good. So that's a good first step. But you see here, I had to change this from testing to live if I want to use the live credentials. So what you can do is we can install another library here that can get the project you're currently authenticated with. So for example, when you run a workload on GCP, whether that's in Kubernetes Engine or App Engine or whatever, you can figure out which project the account is running under. And the way you can do that through your code is you can install another library here called Google Auth Library. And we can go across here and see, so we're going to get Google Auth from the Google Auth library, and we'll create an async function called get project ID. And in there, what we're going to want to do want to get the scope of googleapis.com /cloud platform. And then once we've got that, we can then get the project ID by awaiting auth.get project ID. There we go. And we can just return that. Right, so now in here we can say const project ID equals await get project ID. Oops. Change these to backticks. And then in here, get the project ID. So I'll go ahead and log in with my GCP account. Allow that. And then let's say we want to authenticate with our testing account, so we'll go with project 3. Right, so now if we run the Bootstrap, there we go, test user is connected to blog testing on testing day. If we were logged in with our live project, which I wouldn't recommend, but if you were, we would run that. There we go, so you now see it's automatically changed to live because we switched our project. So what that means is when you build and deploy this to GCP, if you've deployed to your testing project in here, it will use your testing credentials. If your workload is running on your live project, it will use your live credentials. So what you can do then is when you get a new person starting on your project, a new engineer, you can assign them permissions to read the credentials for the testing project, and then all they need to do is log in using their gcloud command line tool, authenticate with the testing project, and then they're good to go. They don't need to set up any environment variables, they don't need to set up anything. They just log in to GCP, they're authenticated, they're given permissions through IAM permissions, and then they can get started straight away. So that's it. Pretty cool, pretty neat. A lot nicer than having environment variables for passwords. Certainly a lot nicer than putting the passwords in your source code. Really easy in terms of workload, and what we can do now is we can go ahead and deploy this to GCP so you can see it live in action on how it uses the correct credentials based on the project. So we'll go ahead and we'll create, we're going to use a tool called Google Cloud Build, which is Google's CI/CD tool. Cloud Build, and then we're going to run it on a service called Cloud Run. We'll go ahead and just enable these APIs. So to run it, we're going to use Cloud Run, which is a serverless service that you can either run your functions on. Well, it doesn't have to be functions. It's basically it runs containers. So it's like Kubernetes, but serverless. It actually does run on Kubernetes in the background. You can set it up to run on your own Kubernetes cluster, or you can set it up to use a fully managed Kubernetes cluster. Today we'll go ahead and do a fully managed Kubernetes cluster. Right, so to do this, what we need to do is, well, a couple of things. We're going to need a Docker file, because this is going to be a Docker container we're going to be running. So go ahead and run this on node 12 slim. So work directory of app, and then what we're going to want to do is copy our package star.json. So I'll copy package.json and package lock.json into here, and then we're going to want to run npm install only production. We want to copy the rest of our project, and then we're going to want to run npm start. So what this does is, this is really good for caching. So this means if you do this in 2 different steps, this means that you don't have to run npm install every time you do a build, unless you're package.json. So you've either added a new package or updated the package or removed the package. If so, then it will run the npm install. If not, it doesn't have to go through that every time. So that's a really cool trick you can do there. So npm start, do we actually have? No, we'll go ahead and create a start, which is just going to be node bootstrap.js. Just make sure that works. Node bootstrap.js, yeah, okay. So that's working fine. One thing to note, when you are running on Google Cloud Run, you need to listen for the port and an environment variable. You can hard code it, but they recommend you listen to port just for future compatibility. So we are already listening to that, so that's fine. Right, so we then need to create our cloud build YAML file. So this is going to be where we save, or where we store the steps for our build process. So we're going to give gcr.io cloud builders docker. So this says we're going to run a docker command. And the docker command we're going to run is we'll do a docker build and we'll tag it with gcr.io. So that means it will save it in Google Container Registry, which is like Docker Hub, but Google's version. Project ID, so that'll either be secrets live or secrets testing, depending on which project. So we'll set up to, if we push to our testing branch, it'll run on our testing project. If we push to the master branch, it will run on our live project. Repo name, branch name. Alright, so all this is basically doing is doing a Docker build and tagging it with this. And then what we're going to want to do is push that up to GCR. So we'll copy this. Args, so we want to do, so this is a Docker push, and then we're going to want this again. Right, so that means we've built our container, we've pushed our container up to GCR. We then need to deploy it to Google Cloud Run, and we can do that with the G Cloud builder. Alright, so this command is gcloud run deploy. We'll give it the repo name. So that's just the project name. You could call that anything. We can hardcode that into secrets. I just like to do this because it's reusable. You can just copy and paste this into another project, and it will work just fine. We need to give it an image flag. Give it our image that we just built. I'll go ahead and give it a region. I'm not sure if you need to give it a region, but I will because it doesn't default to Europe. And here's where the platform flag is, where you can say, either do it as a fully managed service or run it on one of my own clusters. I'm going to use a managed service, and then you can do unauthenticated. So unauthenticated just means anyone can run it. So this will give us a URL, and we can just ping it as a web service. If you don't do this, you can set permissions based on service accounts, so only certain authenticated users can access your Cloud Run function. We don't care so much about that, so we don't allow unauthenticated. Right, next thing, we're going to have to plug this into GitHub. So I've got an empty repository here, no code in it yet. Remote origin already exists. Okay, I've already done that. And then let's go and git checkout -b, and we'll just call this bootstrap. So we're now on a new branch called Bootstrap. So we'll go ahead and just add all these files in. This is just our blog file, our new Bootstrap file, our cloud build, our database. We don't really need that console log, that's just more for local dev. That looks good. Docker file from Node.js. Package JSON, install. pip start looks good. Index.js, we've already tested that, that's working fine. It is listening to the port. Okay. And the passwords, again, we've tested that, that all looks good. Cool, so Git repository not found. Get remote. Okay, get push origin. Please make sure this is because I've got 2 GitHub accounts set up here. Give me 2 seconds. So we're going to want this to be okay, good. So I've got 2 GitHub accounts. I've got my work one and I've got my personal one. I want to use my personal one, so I need to append that and stuff. Right, so now if we go to GitHub, we should see some code. Okay, so now what we want to do is go into Cloud Build. And we're going to connect the repository. So we're going to connect this to our GitHub. Yes, please do. We'll go ahead and install, oh no. Perfect. Right, so we're going to run this on secrets repository, connect to the repository. Right, so what we're actually going to want to do is check out a testing branch. Push your code to our testing branch, and we're going to create a trigger. So we're going to say secrets testing. So we're going to say when you push to this repository on our testing branch, you're going to run cloudbuild.yaml. That's right. Okay, so we've got capital C in there. That's fine. Cloudbuild.yaml. And we'll go ahead and create that. So, did I push that? Yes, I did. I can go ahead here. So that's saying whenever you push to testing, it's going to run that. I've already pushed to testing, so I'm just going to manually run it. So press run trigger. And then that starts the build. So you can see here the 3 steps we created: the Docker build, the Docker push, and the gcloud run deploy. So while we're at it, we'll go and hook this up to the live project as well. Oh no, caller does not have permission. Okay, so that's fine. You need to go and enable Cloud Build access to deploy to Cloud Run. Enable. So we'll go and retry that. We are going to have another problem. The problem is going to be the Cloud Run is not going to have it's not going to have permission to access our secrets. And I'll show you how to do that through the IAM permissions. Go ahead and push this up to master as well. Set up our live service. So we'll create a trigger, exact same as last time, but this time we'll call it secrets live. Push to a branch. When you push to master, run cloudbuild.yaml. We'll go ahead and start a live one as well. Right. Failed to start and listen on the port environment variable. So this is probably because of our Cloud Run permissions that I was talking about a minute ago. So if we go to Cloud Run, we can see it has tried to create this secrets. And if we go into logs, I'm guessing it's going to say Bootstrap failed because it didn't have permissions. Secret manager denied. Okay, so if we go back here, you can see, we should be able to see which service account this is running as somewhere. Okay, so it's running as a default compute service account. Oh yeah, I'm not done. Here we go. So default service account, we want to give this access to secret manager viewer. Okay, and we need to see one live as well. So I am find the default service account. This is the one Cloud Run's running as. You can change that. We'll stick with it for now. Secret viewer. So you can see there's a few different roles you can give it. You can give it secret manager admin, which means it can create and delete, add new versions. We actually probably want accessor, not viewer. So viewer means you'll be able to see the resources, but accessor means you can access the payload. So we actually want to change it to that. So we come back in here and update that permission. Accessor. Okay. Cool. So if we go back to our Cloud Run, so we don't need to rebuild it, we've already built it and pushed it. Why is this not doing anything? So all we need to do is go and create a new revision, and that will try and restart the app, and then it should have permissions and it should run. So we won't change anything, we'll just go and press deploy again. Refresh that, seems to have not been responding. Same again, we'll go and create a new revision to restart the app. Deploy. And it has failed again. Okay, because I'm using this, which I've got locally in my host file. So we just need to go and update this with update the secrets to have the actual IP address of the MySQL server and not the host that I have locally. Okay, so we're going to create a new version, and we'll do the same here in the live user. Add new version, and then we'll go and restart it again, and hopefully this time we should be good to go. So you can see there I've created a new version. I can go ahead and disable version 1. It doesn't really matter because we're saying use the latest, but it's good practice. Those credentials don't work, so you should disable. Okay, so we'll go ahead in here, create a new revision. This is our testing one. We'll do the same on live. Cloud Run, secrets, edit and deploy new revision. Deploy. Okay, we'll go back to testing. Fingers crossed. There we go. We now have a URL and a green tick. That's good. /posts, which was our express route. There we go. Testing. And now if we go to our live one. /posts. We're live. So there we go. We have our testing project that automatically picks up our testing credentials. We've got our live project which automatically picks up our live credentials. We don't need to worry about passing environment variables. We don't need to worry about having .env files. We definitely don't have to worry about hard coding secrets in our source code. And in order to do that, you just need to make a really simple bootstrap.js to load the files. Load the files into an object, and then you don't even have to change how you load your database connection. You just need to change that to read from your preloaded secrets. So that's it. Really great tool, really simple to use. Really secure. Like I say, you can change. So these are running as specific service accounts. You can change those to run as whatever service accounts you want, and you can give permissions to secrets based on those service accounts. So yeah, really great tool. Really enjoying using it. If you have any questions, please feel free to either ask in the comments or contact me directly. That's cool. If you like this, please give it a like, a thumbs up, and please subscribe. Leave any comments you have down below, and I will see you next time for some more cloud fun. Thank you.